What I see in Trump is a set of skills that are so deep and so exquisite, it would be hard for me to imagine anybody beating him. And so I've predicted he'll go all the way and win the presidency.
Donald Trump has a way with words and people.
I will be phenomenal to the women.
I have many Hispanics working for me, many Hispanics.
We're rounding them up in a very humane way, in a very nice way, and they're going to be happy.
Vote for me because we're going to make America great again.
But the media don't get him, and he doesn't appreciate it.
You know, some of the media is among the worst people I've ever met. And I mean a pretty good percentage is really a terrible group of people.
Scott Adams, prolific author, blogger, and creator of Dilbert, thinks they're all getting trolled.
I'm saying, I see a flamethrower. I think the flamethrower guy wins in the stick fight.
Though he doesn't support Trump or any other candidate, he believes that Trump is in fact a master wizard.
The idea of the master wizard hypothesis says that there are some people in the world, living people, who are masters of persuasion. They've got a linguistic gift for influencing people, and they're using actual technique. What I saw in Trump was someone who was highly trained, and that a lot of the things that the media were reporting as sort of random insults and bluster and just Trump being Trump looked to me like a lot of deep technique that I recognize from the fields of hypnosis and persuasion. So let me give you a few examples of the technique that Trump uses. There's something that I call the linguistic kill shot. And what that is a engineered set of words that essentially changes an argument or ends it so decisively, I call it a kill shot. So one of the ones that Donald Trump used was when he referred to Jeb Bush being a low energy guy.
Very low energy. So low energy that every time you watch him, you fall asleep.
Donald, you cannot take
More energy tonight. I like that.
Or when he referred to Carly Fiorina as a robot.
Like a robot, ba, like a robot.
Or Carson as nice.
Ben is a nice man.
He's actually a really nice guy.
All of these have the same quality. They're words you haven't heard in the political realm before, so they're sort of virginal words that he can use the way he wants. They don't have a lot of baggage with them. But they also perfectly fit what you are already thinking about these people. They weren't random insults. And once you hear it, you can never get it out of your mind. That's how powerful it is. You notice that he insults people that come at him.
I'm telling you, anybody that would view it that way has to be a little bit of a deviant.
And he also compliments people quite effusively when they're nice, or at least they're not bothering him.
I think they like me in a certain way, which is nice. It's always nice to be liked.
So what he's done is he's created a fairly large gap between insulting Trump, where he'll take you down, or being nice to him, where he'll take you up.
It sounds like you're saying I have leverage over the Republican Party, so they better be nice to me.
Well, essentially, I want to be treated fairly. That's true. I do want to, not nice.
You go against him, you know there's a little bit more to lose. And an anchor is something big and visual and emotional that takes you off of whatever you were thinking before, just because it's a bigger thought. So, for example, when Trump was in his first debate...
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
That was a terrible thing for him to answer with a direct answer. But he didn't do that.
Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Immediately you go to this big visual, everybody knows her. His base probably has a negative feeling about her. And all the headlines became about Rosie O'Donnell instead of, is Trump a sexist?
I blurted out the name Rosie O'Donnell, and the place went crazy. And it really had a big impact on her questioning.
Kind of brilliant. He does the same thing with his idea for immigration and for the wall. The wall is this big, visual, magnificent thing in your head.
It will be a real wall. It'll be a wall that works. It'll actually be a wall that will look good. A big, beautiful, powerful wall. It can have a gate. It can have a door. It can have a tremendous, beautiful, wide open door. Nice, big door.
Even if you hate it, it's still big and visual, and it takes all the attention in that direction, and that's what he wants. One of the things that Trump does really well is he uses a type of linguistic judo. For example, there was one interviewer who said, you're kind of a whiner.
Rich Lowry says that you are the most fabulous whiner in the world. And
instead of saying, no, I'm not a whiner. Trump embraced it like Judo. He took the force of the label and said,
I am a whiner, and I'm a whiner, and I keep whining and whining until I win. And I'm going to win for the country, and I'm going to make our country great again.
So he changed whiner into the biggest voice for change. And he did it with just a few words. It's amazing. Likewise, if Trump says anything about capitalism in the context of the Pope, it's just not going to come out right. So instead, Trump doesn't take the bait.
What do you say in response to the Pope?
I'd say ISIS wants to get you.
It's such a big, bold thought.
He talks to you about capitalism, you scare the Pope?
No, I'm going to have to scare the Pope.
All your attention just goes to that. He uses vagueness as a tool. This is a trick I learned in hypnosis class. Sometimes you want to tell a story in a way that lets people fill in the blanks with whatever would make them the happiest. So if Trump has a vague idea about foreign policy,
just like I have the Chinese banks in my buildings, they listen to me, they respect me.
or a vague idea about the economy,
My economy will expand so rapidly. We're going to take jobs back from other countries.
or a vague idea about how to handle ISIS,
I would end ISIS forcefully.
people fill in the blanks with brilliant plans that are their own plans. It's more of a strategy than you imagine it is. But he has another thing going for him. He's developed the Trump persona over many years. He can do what nobody can do as a politician. He can change his mind.
Raising the Social Security retirement age to 70. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, not anymore.
He can say, I'm not going to tell you what I'll do. I'll just hire good people to do it.
I have the smartest people on Wall Street lined up already.
And he also can tell a joke. He can be outrageous.
I'm worried if you're president, I'll get deported. All right? That's what I'm worried about.
We're going to try like hell to keep you here, Bill.
You see apple pie and flags and eagles coming out of his ass when he talks. A lot of people ask me what could bring down Donald Trump. Probably there's no defense, and that's why I've predicted he probably will win the presidency based just on skill. I've said that if Trump wins, it might change how we see the world. Not just how we see politics, but how we see humans and how humans are influenced and how little reason has anything to do with what we do. In my book, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, I write about the moist robot idea. It's the idea that humans are essentially robots that are made of meat. In that world, emotion and influence and all the techniques that Trump uses are really the only things that explain what's happening in the world. Reason will never be a satisfying explanation of what you see.
We're going to build a wall, and we're going to create a border. It's going to be a great wall, and it's not going to be very expensive.
I find it terribly interesting that you can defend an entirely different view of the world with the same data that's used to defend the standard model. So whenever I can do that, I'm so there, because as soon as you realize that the model you've been looking at maybe isn't so firm as you thought, then you're free.